Okay, hi. We're recording. We're live on Facebook. My name's Rebecca Joy Novell and I work with refugees. And I'm here with Essam, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Essam Sannoufi, and I am Syrian refugee. Uh,
That, and so much more, but we'll find out about you.
I'm Syrian, yeah. So I'm here to tell you my story and to speak with Rebecca about a lot of things about refugees. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Rebecca. Really, I'm happy for that. So yeah,
We're really excited to talk to you.
yeah,
Basically, what we want to do is kind of a series of interviews with different asylum seekers and refugees. There's a lot going around on the news about refugees at the moment. And I think it's just really important that we counteract all the myths and the lies and the misinformation with facts. And I think some of the most important facts you can have are just listening to people's stories from them. Also, there's a really good podcast called the Forced Migration Review, which talks about the importance of refugee voices as individuals. So whilst, you know, refugees share a lot of trauma, they share the victimhood aspect, everyone is completely different. So Essam's story is different to Intisar's story, who we'll hear from hopefully next week, different to an asylum seeker who's come from Sudan, for example. So everybody's stories are different, and I just think it's important we capture those. So today we'll be here for about an hour. If you have any questions about Essam's story, refugees, anything, ask them. We're here to answer. And yeah, should we get going, Sam?
yeah.
So my first question, what I want to know, is I want you to tell me about home. So what was Syria like before the war? Where was home for you? And what was it like?
Okay. My home is the country of Syria. And I grew up in the city of Homs, in the middle of Syria, and I grew up with my family. Homs is known as the capital of Lahabi. So briefly, I'll try to explain about Syria, where is located geographical. So I know most of people, they know where is Turkey. So Syria on the border of Turkey, exactly, on the border of Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan as well. So Syria is really, really amazing country. Uh, I don't know how could I explain that, but before 2011, everything was good, except talking about 40 years before 2011, except you couldn't, there is no freedom, you couldn't talk about political things, you couldn't express your opinion. So this is big problem. And if you just try to talk about political things, so that means you will be behind the sun. That means you will go to the prison and there is nobody could ask where are you. So this is why the revolution started in 2011 in Syria. So yeah, that's it about us. So yeah,
So when you were in Syria before the
yeah.
revolution, what were you doing? Were you working? Were you
Okay. So
studying?
before that Syria, I was I was student French literature. I studied French literature, and at the same time I was running a small graphic design business. So this was my work and the French literature my study.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
before.
enjoy it? Did you
Yeah,
enjoy
of
it?
course, and if you start from my childhood, it was good, and I went to school and the college and university. So my life, it was really, really amazing. Like here, like anyone.
So
Yeah.
did you know English before you left Syria or French?
French, I know some, but I could tell you about French. There is a lot of words between French and English, by the way, but
Mm,
different pronunciation. A lot of words. So I think that supported me here.
mm.
Just I have to change my pronunciation for few words. Yeah, really.
But I
Some,
guess it's a lot French to English is a lot shorter than Arabic to English, so definitely.
yeah, 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 of course. So I think this is why. Yeah. And
So
I had experience to speak another languages. So when I came here, yes, I felt a little bit more relaxed to talk and more confidence to speak another language. Yes.
So
Yeah.
can you tell us a bit more about like Syrian culture, like your day to day, like what things are important to Syrian people? Like I know you say Homs is the capital of laughing, and I think
Yeah.
Syrian people have a great sense of humor, but like other things like family or religion, like what's important to Syrian people?
Okay, so in Syria, most of Syrians are Muslims. Are Muslims. We are talking about maybe nine. If we talk about the number of people there, about 25 million, all of Syrians. So about 90% are Muslim there, and about 10%, almost, I'm talking another religions. So in general, Syrian people, they are very open, and to another religions, they respect each other. So there is no problem between religions before. And especially Syria, we could speak about the Damascus, the capital of Syria. The capital of Syria, it's like the oldest capital in the world. The
Mm.
oldest capital in the world, Damascus.
People don't know that. When you say
Just,
what's the
just
oldest capital, they're like
yeah,
Rome or
no,
Greece.
just I want to explain that Syria, it's
Mm.
historical. There is oldest churches. There are oldest mosques. So we are talking about 8,000 years civilization. So it's really very important and really amazing. And if you're talking about the weather, and if you're talking about it's wealthy, it's rich country, But our problem, the government, we have a dictatorship. They steal everything. So this is why the people wanted to broken these things, to stop this dictatorship. And for that, 2011, our revolution started 2011. Yes. So, but if we will come back to our culture, we talk about the community. The community. If we make a comparison between here and there, so there more we could say the families together there, they are more than here. Our community more uh, together more than here, I think that. Yes,
Yeah, I've seen that with you guys, like because
yeah,
fortunately your mum and dad are here
yeah,
and your brother, and it's
yes,
like you can't go a day without seeing each other. Some
yeah.
of my friends in our family, like we can go months without seeing our sisters or brothers.
Yes, and about my neighbor as well. If we talk about the religion things, my neighbor where I grow up, if you could find three, four mosques and three, four churches together in one street. Could you imagine? And we live together, and it's there is no problem about religions, and we love each other. By the way, and especially I'm talking about my area, my house. This is between Christianity and Christian and Muslim. Yes, so half and half, we could say.
I think something that was interesting that I remember you spoke to me a while ago was you said there wasn't really a split between Sunni and Shia Muslims, which we'll come to later when we come to ISIS, because I think a lot of the West think, oh, in Syria and Iraq, Sunnis and Shias hate each other. But you were
Yeah,
like, no.
no, about Syria, there is not too much Shia, but truthfully, we before our revolution, 2011, I'm talking about all Syrians. We didn't know there is a lot of problem about Sunni between Sunni and Shia. The people in Syria, they accept everybody. They accepted everybody. A lot of in Lebanon, they came as a refugee to Syria before. I'm talking. So we hosted them. We will coming them. Iraqi people as well. They came to Syria before, and we will coming. So always Syria. All the history, the Syria was open their arms to all the refugees as well.
Yeah.
So we didn't expect that we will be a refugee. We would be a refugee in any time, but that happened really because always, as I said, always Syria opened their arms. And by the way, there is no camp. There were no camp for any refugees. Always we opened our houses to them. So if you could read it about the Lebanon, about the Iraqi as well, anyone in history come to Syria, we opened our houses to them. Yes, but that happened for us in 2011.
It's such a I think it's such a powerful lesson for English people, because we think we'll never be refugees. Like, there's no way the UK will ever be refugees. But I imagine Syria thought that too, didn't you? And I think Abu Nabil was showing me his house that he used to live in, and it's better than any house you can get in England. And that made me realize, actually, you can have everything and feel so stable, and it can be lost within
Yeah,
years.
yes. And now I'll try to explain as well my story, and my story as well as evidence about what you're saying. So you think you are stable about that, but just because 1 second your life will change completely 180 degree it will change. So yes.
Did you ever see yourself leaving Syria before the revolution? Did you ever think, I want to leave here, or was it going to be your forever home?
No. That, you are talking about before the revolution.
Yeah.
Before the revolution, no. Just I was, as I said, I was a French literature student. So I had at the same time I was running small graphic design business. So I had a dream to start my business, to make my business bigger. And of course, when I graduated from university, so I be a teacher. So I will teach the students French as well. So yes, I had a great dream that time, really. And yeah, uh, but this is before 2000. And even when our revolution started 2011, I didn't think one day that I'm gonna leave Homs. Yes,
I think
after the revolution as well. So I will explain that now after a while now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's
And how I live it, how I live Syria as well. Yes.
Yeah, and whether you wanted to. I think people forget that, don't they? You lose two things. You lose everything. Obviously, you lose the physical home, but you lose your dream and the life that you planned.
You lose your dream. Look, I'll tell you. What does it mean? What does it mean to be a refugee? You will lose your home. You will lose your memorize. Your memorize is very important. By the way, now when I miss to my country now here, when I miss the, I didn't miss to the stone or things. I miss to my memorize. I miss to my old friends, not the I don't. Most of my friends now, most of them died. Most of them in some of them in Europe, some of them in Turkey, some of them. So yes, so you missed everything, really. It's not just about the physical things. No, I think physical things the easiest one, but um, your memorize, your friends, your team, yeah.
So when did things start going wrong in Syria, and what went wrong?
About 2011. Sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah, so you said obviously you could never talk about politics or whatever before, but
Yeah.
when did the revolution really kick off, and how? And I know, there's never going to be one agreed narrative about what happened in Syria, because it's so complicated. But
yeah,
for you living in Homs, what is your understanding of the revolution?
Okay, for some people, I think they don't know who is the president in Syria. So the president in Syria is called Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad, just I tried to get some information about him to tell you about that for the people. He's a Syrian politician who became president of Syria without an election, in July 2000, having succeeded his father, who was president from 1971 to 2000. He is commander-in-chief of Syrian armed forces. Before he became the president, he studied to be a doctor at Damascus University. Also, he came to London as a postgraduate student. He married Asma al-Akhras. She was born and raised in London. So this is our president. So our president, there was no election, and of course his father come to the to be president by army as well. So this is why you couldn't speak never ever about political things. because yeah, they know if the people they want to ask for freedom, things like that, that means this system gonna destroy. So for that, when our revolution started, and there are lots and lots of videos on YouTube, we could say all streets were filled by protesters. So could you imagine? Yani, it's like what's wrong? There is a lot of things we need to change, and just we need freedom. We didn't ask for anything. Just we need freedom. Could you imagine how this word make them scared?
Mm.
Make the president scared? Just people they so how they faced these protesters by violence. They killed the people, violence like that. So about these things, okay. So I saw that by my eyes. I saw that my eyes. So for that I know where is justice, where is injustice. So in that time I had either two options: stand up with justice or injustice. So of course I chose to stand with justice, but it's really really dangerous because it might be cost you your life.
I
So I
think, can you explain, you told me a story about some school children who wrote some stuff. Was it on some walls?
okay
Because
about
I think that really shows like how, because we can imagine that story happening in England, and it shows
yeah,
how a little thing goes and just
okay
explodes.
how it started. Okay, so before the Syria, the revolution started in Libya. I think most of people they know about Libya and the Gaddafi president, and and when the people in Syria they watched the news, so there is a city called Dara. The children they watched this news about the president, about freedom, things like that. So what happened that day? Some children, school teenager, they wrote a few words on the wall of the school called "It's your turn, doctor." It's about the president. Just they wrote. Could you imagine? They wrote "It's your turn, doctor." And what happened? They come by police. They sent the police to the houses, and they arrested the children. I think they age about 12, 13, like that. 13 years old, like that. So they arrested them and they took them and to I could say they to Rami, put it to repression to Rami, like that, to Rami. So yeah,
So
and all
they took
that,
them to a prison
yes, they
to.
put it in prison, yes,
Mhm.
yeah. And what happened? And after that, another cities, the people, their fathers, their families, they start the revolution in Dara, yes. And after that, the revolution gonna bigger. And in Homs, our city, we heard about this story and we didn't accept what happened. And because this is really injustice, could you imagine the children just they wrote few words and there is nothing problem, just expression. Maybe because they watch the news, they watch the news just like that, like copyright things.
Mm.
Yes, and we didn't accept that. And the second city started revolution after Dara was Homs.
Mm.
And after that, she was capital of Lafi, and she became the capital of the revolution.
And it makes so much sense, doesn't it? Because I, as a mother, if someone arrested my 12-year-old boy for writing something on a wall, I would stand up against that. And I think it speaks to other parents, so you can understand
Yeah.
how suddenly everyone started caring a bit more, or really thinking this is wrong.
Okay, imagine in UK side, if someone arrested my children, I will stand against that. But could you imagine if they arrested your children? They took them to prison. You don't know where they are, and they use the violence against them. And of course, because we know maybe might be some children they died, by the way, by this one. Some children died, and there is someone very very famous name that are called Hamza Al Khatib. Hamza Al Khatib, and you could find a lot of videos about him as well. So when we watched that, so we didn't accept that, and our revolution started. But we didn't expect this regime will face by this violence really, because thousand people were filled streets, thousands and thousands. Yes.
So when you were filling the streets, you were protesting in the same way that we recognise in England. You were out with banners, it was peaceful.
Yeah.
How did the government respond? Were they immediately violent, or was it okay for a while and then they got
No,
violent?
for a while. I remember for a while, to be honest, because it started for a while, like few hours, things like that. And after that, they send up the police with weapons, with uh, with weapons, with guns, like that.
Mm-hmm,
And they
mm-hmm.
killed some people. They killed some people, and of course, the people escaped. I remember we ran too much. We ran too much. But a lot of people they died as well. Yeah.
So then how long did these protests and the government cracking down carry on for before it got even worse? So there was protests and there was resistance from the
No, no,
government.
I could say from the first day.
Okay.
from from the first day. And what happened? Because we'll tell you, in Syria, we couldn't arrange one day to protest. We couldn't, and we couldn't use the Facebook, WhatsApp, things like that. So every Friday we go to the mosque. Every Friday we go to the mosque because this is all the Muslim people they go to the mosque, and every Friday we use this time to protest because we will be all of us there.
Mm.
So every Friday, every Friday, yes, for we could say many years like that. Every Friday.
And why couldn't you do it via WhatsApp or Facebook? Is it because the government would find you straight away?
Of course,
Of course.
you couldn't, and not just you couldn't as well. You couldn't express your opinion on Facebook as well.
Mm.
So for
Just
that, we
easy
find that
target.
easier for me because everybody wants to protest, but there is nobody trust to another who could say that or things like that or Facebook. So we go as normal things, and after that we find ourselves thousands and thousands and thousands like that. So and every Friday we call uh, uh, the name. We put the Friday like this Friday for freedom. This Friday for Kurdish people freedom. This Friday for peaceful like that. Yes, every Friday we call.
And how many, so in terms of like people who were for the demonstrations, so in England, if we're demonstrating something, you'll get 50% demonstrating for it, going, yes, we want freedom. And then you'll get some people who are just not bothered. They're like, just stop causing problems. What was it like in Syria? Was everyone against Assad, or
We could say 95%
were
from
in the
20,
protests?
from 25 million. Yes.
So there wasn't like a resistance of, please stop protesting, sit down, be quiet, stop causing problems.
No. There is no joy. They kill you. They will kill you directly. There is not like here. Believe me. Look. By the way, when I watch here, the police here come to the house to speak, to talk with people nicely and friendly, things like that. So sometimes I stand up really next to them to watch them how they treat.
Just like, what are these human
To
rights?
verify, in our country they will come with like oppa, they will destroy everybody, believe me, not like that, no.
But did you not have friends and family who were also worried about you, like, don't go out and protest, or please?
Of course, my mom, my dad, because everyone knows anyone will go to the protest might be he will die. So yeah, we know that, and we know that when we go to protest, we know that, yes, but there is power inside you inside, so you have to do something. You have to change things. We have to change our future as well, yeah, because we know everything. Yes, really, because it's very important to get your freedom. It's very important, and especially, could you imagine our country? It's a rich country with a nice weather, and we have desert, we have petrol, we have everything, and there is no money. Where the money? Just because the people they will ask where the. So for that, as I said, this system we're gonna destroy it if the people will get their freedom. That's why.
I just find it
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that you pick freedom over death, because everyone says they will, But when you're in a situation where you're like, either I'm free or I die, and you go out and you risk death for freedom,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing.
And by the way, as well, at university, it was my last year at university to graduate. So, but I know if I will start, I will print any banner, I will design any design, couldn't go to university again. So I stopped that, and I was really, really happy to stop that because I want to be where I have to be.
So you gave up finishing your degree to
I
fight
didn't,
for the
it was
revolution?
last year, and our
Wow.
revolution started in the middle of the year. Could you,
Wow.
let me
So you
just
never got your certificate after all that
no,
work?
no, I left it. I left it. It was last year. You couldn't. They will arrested me, and because I don't know, because they will know what I did, so I couldn't.
So,
And what happened in that time? Any area against the regime, the government put them under siege. Okay, under siege. So I'll give you example. You live in Lancaster. Could you imagine this Lancaster? They don't want the prime minister, and prime minister he said, I want to stay the president. Example, and could you imagine? They put it Lancaster under siege.
just wrap us up so we can't go out
yes,
or in.
the Lancaster under siege. Okay, so please tell me what the people they will do. I'm talking about the doctor, teachers, or who has skills, carpenter, anyone. So what they will do, they will try to protect their family. Yes, they will try to protect their family. So from that time, we could say start some people like me. I used my skills to print banners, to design banners called freedom, things like that, because just I was only one who could design things like that. So some people they try to started army freedom. So this is army freedoms from people because they want to protect their family, they want to protect their children.
So Freedom Army. So you would
Freedom
class yourselves
army.
as a Freedom
Yes,
Army. Okay.
freedom army. From that time started the people to try to protect their family. So that means it's like any area against the regime put it here under siege and attacked her by tank, by airplane, by everything, by rocket things, everything. Yes.
But how did it get from protests to this massive war? Because that's quite a difference. So what happened for it to just go to the point where we have 8 million refugees? What happened?
Okay. So what happened? I'm talking about my area, but the truth, it's the protests were happened in all streets in Syria. We're talking I'm talking about Aleppo, Damascus, Homs, Dar'a, lots of cities. From that time, we could say that in that time, any area, as I said, any area, the regime attacked the area. So the people they found themselves, they have to defend themselves. And from that time, it's changed. There is no option for people. They have to defend themselves. And from that time, what the regime want to say the regime would say, no, I'm not fighting my people. I'm fighting terrorists. I'm fighting this group's terrorists, things like that. But
Assad was saying that the protesters were terrorists.
Exactly. Why? Because they have a power, they have a money, they have a media, social media things. Because they know Europe, Western Europe, America, everything. This is the only way they could allow them to kill people like that. No, I'm not killing my people. But what about the videos? A lot of videos that we don't just talking. No. We have videos about that, a picture for children, and in Damascus as well, Al-Ghouta, chemical weapons as well. So this regime used everything to kill the people.
So by saying it was terrorists, they got America on board, they got Britain on board, they got other countries, because obviously the West hate terrorists and will help you.
Of course. This is because they know how to play this game. We could say this game. What about the people? We are talking about 20 million people, 20 million. How 7 million now refugees? How they are refugees? Could you imagine about that? how. But this is his story, and from the beginning, he and his media, social media, he said, no, I'm killing terrorists. I'm killing terrorists. No, but the truth, no.
And did he say that those terrorists were ISIS, or did
Yeah.
ISIS come later?
Okay. After that, I remember after 2013, I injured in 2012 to 2013. After 2013, we started to hear from these groups, ISIS, things like that.
So
So
not until 2013.
no, I didn't hear about that before. So what the truth about ISIS and about these groups, Assad, Assad and Iran and Russia, Assad and Iran and Russia, he brought these groups. He brought these groups to Syria. Why? To make his story real. To make his
Mm.
story real. Look, there is ISIS. There is no, but the people, the Syrian people, they hate these groups more than anyone because we know why they came to Syria. They came to support the regime, and the Assad regime happy for this from these groups because these things will give his story the real things.
It's so complicated, isn't it? Because so ISIS is there to validate Assad's story, but obviously we've seen what ISIS has done in Iraq before.
Yeah.
So when you're focusing on the people, what was kind of the response when it was getting really bad? When did people start leaving in massive numbers? Like what year was that?
Living from Syria
Yeah.
in general as a refugee. They
Yeah.
started from, we could say, 2012. Yes, 2012 when this went well, worse. Yes, 2012. And a lot of people like me, I didn't choose to leave my city. I couldn't leave my neighbor. I couldn't leave my friends. So a lot, we stayed there to defend to our countries. I used my skills, but it cost me my life. And in 2013, I remember I injured. I injured it. How I injured it? I injured. I'll tell you. A lot of people they injured by crackers. A lot of people they injured. So uh, if you want to cross the street, you have to run. So some streets you have to run because the sniper catch it like that.
To
So
avoid bullets, you've just got to.
yeah, it's like that. So, but and if you are lucky, you will cross. If you are not, you won't. So I wasn't. I went before, but one day, last day, I injured it really.
So
Yes,
what?
and
So what year were you shot by a sniper? What year was that?
2013.
2013. And you don't have to talk about it at all, but do you remember the moment? Like,
I remember, yeah, of course, I remember. Just I remember, I was running. Things like that happened, and I found myself in the land,
just
on
on
the
the
land,
floor.
on the floor, yes. And because we know, we could say we know these things happen, so I understand what happened. So the problem, yes, my legs broken and lots of things, yeah,
So
yeah.
you
But
you realized straight away.
I found myself on the floor.
And how did you get out of that situation?
Yeah, and my friends, they pulled me, and it was very hard because my legs broken, and from that time my life changed completely. From that time, I could say, um, I chose everything before, but after my injuries, like someone put me in the on the boat, and someone take me in the sea. I don't know where I have to go, and my painful, and the problem, uh, he destroyed the hospitals. There were no hospitals. He destroyed the hospitals. There were no doctors, specialist doctors, things like that. So could you imagine when you injure it? I'm not talking about me because before I tried to make videos about the people, they need supplements, they need medication, they need everything. So I tried before my injury, but I injured after that. There were no hospitals, and there were no way to get out as well
No way
because
to get
we
out
are
of Homs.
yes, of course, because we are under siege. Yes. So
So where did your friends take you? Like the moment you'd been shot, if they knew there wasn't a hospital, where did they take you?
Like you know, like clinical, small clinical things.
Yeah, like a small
Hospital,
clinic.
yes, like that. So there is general doctor. The doctor, they try to support us to stay alive. Just not treatment, not specialist doctor. Just they supported us to stay alive. Of course, if I go back, I don't. I wanted to die, of course, because you couldn't imagine the painful after that. The painful, it's very, and uh, and as well, could you imagine young man, especially, يعني, suddenly you find yourself on in bed and you couldn't move, and there are a lot of things in your leg, and there is no treatment, painful, no food, uh, because there were no food more than 1 year. Just we eat things like rice, things like rice. So um, you know, now I remember one thing. After 21 days exactly from my injuries, I rem I dreamed. Now this is now I remember that. I dreamed that I'm walking as before, like before my injuries. I dreamed I'm walking, I visited my friends, things like that. It was incredible. Believe me, when I woke up, just I wanted to sleep again, to go back to my dream. That really that happened after 21 days exactly. So you couldn't imagine how I was happy by this dream just because I'm walking. I'm using my life as normal just in this dream. So believe me, I was very happy that time. And because 21 days, I couldn't believe what happened with me. Yeah.
So at any point, what was the point at which you left Syria? So you're in that situation, and how did it get to the point of you going to Lebanon?
Okay. So after 4 months, almost after 4 months, so my friends and they tried to support me to get out for treatment. So my friends carried me through the field, river, to, almost 2 weeks, illegal, through the field, river, illegal from Homs, the old Homs city to Alwar. After that to Lebanon, illegal one. And I have, of course, to mention that my friends who carried me through the river and field, they killed they have killed after a while. Yes. So yes, I went to Lebanon and the Red Cross. I remember the Red Cross. They supported me and they took me to the hospital in Lebanon.
So you received some medical treatment in Lebanon.
Yes, and my family, they were there before 1 year, and I've met my family as well. And I remember they couldn't believe that I was, and because very changed, I changed my body, very thin skin and tired, and I couldn't walk like that. Yeah. So yes, I started. I had about 12 operation in Lebanon during 2 years. 12 operations. Some of them succeed and some of them not.
12 operations in 2 years.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And
So
the problem, and there is a lot of problem about that because every operation I said, okay, it will success, and the problem when it won't. So yeah,
so I guess it's your hopes constantly being shattered of like, am I going to go back to normal? But also
yeah.
in a situation where you're
I
not in your home
just I
country.
thought 3 months, 4 months like that. Yeah, when I went to Lebanon, I thought in myself 3 months, 6 months like that, but it takes many years. And of course, as I said, some uh, operations didn't success. No, it went worse because you know when it fails.
So how did you end up going from Lebanon to the UK? Because they're
So
quite far apart.
yeah, so as a refugee, so in United Nations, I came to the UK through the United Nations. So the government agreed to bring me here, to treatment to the UK for treatment. So really, it's very hard to describe that. They brought my family as well with me. So yes, of course, after all this terrible time, so I thought that time, okay, because I heard about how the uh, health care here good, how best doctors here in Europe in general. So in that time, I didn't know where I will go. Just they told me in Europe, you travel to Europe. So of
So they
course,
say because you need health treatment,
of course,
you're eligible to be resettled,
yes.
and we don't know where, but it'll be.
No, no, I don't know where, but of course, I have to say yes because we don't have option. It's like someone asked me, "Are you happy here?" or something like that. I said, don't ask refugee if you are happy where you are, where he is, because it's about I have to choose the best option. It's not my yeah, it's I have to choose the best option I have. It's anything is not my option. Anyone refugee, anything is not his option.
So
But we have to
you
choose
wanted to go where the best
what I
healthcare.
have the best option. What I have, of course, I have to go because Lebanon, Lebanon is a poor country, and the small country as well, and more than 1.5 million Syrians there. Because
Mm.
as I said, Lebanon on the border in Syria,
Mm.
and Turkey as well. Turkey, if you notice, the more than 3-4 million Syrians there as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
because on the border as well. So, but Turkey more rich than Lebanon. Yes,
But
so
people
anyone
forget
who
that, don't they? Like even if Lebanon and Turkey have healthcare systems, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 million refugees there, any
could,
health system can't cope with that.
yeah,
That's
yeah. So, but especially like Lebanon, is poor country.
mm. So
So,
so
yeah.
you got selected, and was it straightforward? Like, did they say, okay, we're going to send you to Europe, 2 weeks later you're on a plane?
No,
Like,
no, 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 no. It takes 2 years.
so you're
It
waiting for
takes,
2 years?
it takes 2 years, yes. And especially when they asked me my problem that time, they told me maybe you go to maybe travel alone. But because I put it my family as well in dangerous, and I feel responsibility about him. And could you imagine? I need some help, not some help. I need help myself, but if, even I am responsible, I feel myself I am responsible to my family. They couldn't go back to Syria because the regime will kill them just because I am their son.
Yeah,
Could you imagine? So
by
uh,
association.
yes, so where is my responsibility myself? Where is my responsibility about my family? So yes, I said, please, I want, if I want to travel, I couldn't leave my family anyway. Could you imagine? I prefer to die.
Then leave your
Really,
family.
really, honestly. So yes, it takes 2 years.
But
And
so it really good part of this is that they did let your mum and dad come with you,
yes,
and
really, I
and
am.
one of your brothers with
Yes,
his
one of
wife
my
and
brother
children.
and his family. Yes, and
But
one
not
of my
all.
brothers still still there in Lebanon.
Yeah, so not all your family. So one
Yeah,
of your brothers is still
yeah,
there waiting.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that means when I came here to 29 of September 2016,
so you've been here 4 years.
4 years now. Yeah.
So was the UK what you
Hey.
expected it? Yay! Welcome to England. We're glad you're here. But
Forgive
was
me, I am very honest person. If anyone who doesn't like what I say, but I like to say the truth always, please.
but it but it doesn't matter because it's
Oh,
your truth, and
yeah,
everyone has their own version of truth. So
I found that very important to
yeah.
avoid that for another people as well. It's we could that. But anyway, when I came here, I thought I'm gonna directly from airplane to hospital because
Oh,
I
you thought okay.
believe believe me because I thought that because I came here for health condition.
Mhm.
Okay, so yes, we came here, we started, and when I came here, first 2 weeks, 3 weeks like that. In our countries, when you want to go to the doctor, you go directly. You don't want to wait, things like that. Of course, there is no NHS there. You have to pay the money, but But if you want to go to the doctor, you will go directly there. Okay. So I came here and I start there here some stuff to support us like that. So they took me to the GP. GP waited 3 months to go to another doctor, and from another doctor to the hospital, 6 months. And after 6 months, I went to the doctor, and doctor told me I'm not special. And from the first day, I said I need special to my health. I need specialist doctor.
A specialist, yeah.
Yes. So, and after 6 months, in Blackpool, he told me I couldn't treat you, so you have to go to Manchester doctor, and it takes 1 year. And I went to the Manchester, it was shock as well. And I remember she told me, how to say that one, she was pregnant. She was pregnant with the doctor, and she wanted to take
maternity leave.
Yes, that was at 9 months. Could you imagine? After 1 year, she told me you have to wait 9 months.
Oh, so you could only see her, so you had to wait.
Yes, and I said okay, and she told me there is nobody could do this operation, me, or you have to go to Birmingham or London like that, and it will take 6 months as well. So could you imagine? It shock. Takes eventually to Birmingham and Deadly as well, and the last doctor, he was good, but it takes 2.5 years.
I think what people don't get is that the picture you're sold or told about by the UN is very different to what happens. So like, you came here thinking I'm going to get treatment, and you've just been treated like
when I came here, I'll tell you about myself. What was my plan? Treatment, start to study, learn English, go to university, create a new life, and achieve my dream, and with a new life as well. This was my plan. But when I came here, I found myself in another way. I mean, just I found myself, I need my treatment. It takes 2.5 years. So of course, I put a lot of effort to study English as well. I study English with all this depression, with all this pressure. I studied as well, and I've got a lot of certificates as well about that, math, English, etc. Yeah. So I found myself. I had a plan, but my plan it went to another way.
Do you think a lot of Syrian refugees who come through the resettlement program think, like, do you think they have a misunderstanding in terms of, okay, the health will get sorted, we'll get a job straight away, there'll be this support, or do you think that when they're actually told that information when they're in Lebanon and Jordan, which creates an incorrect picture?
Let's be honest, anyone who to come to Britain or Europe in general, or things like that, it's like a dream. It's like a dream for the people there. So when you say, okay, you will go to Europe, to America, to Canada, so that means you will go to one of the best countries in the world. So I'm talking about Britain. So that means we will came to the best country in the world.
So it's like Hollywood expectations of what?
Of course. Okay. So this is the truth about the media. I'm talking. So about one thing, about we couldn't understand how they're here homeless people. Example. Homeless people.
Couldn't believe there's homeless people in England.
When I came here, there are homeless, but in the media we didn't hear about that. Never ever. Just we hear about the good things. We heard about a good job. We heard about
the Queen,
study, the best university, the Queen, things like that. So I don't think there was misunderstanding from people. No, but how the media deliver everything. Yeah. So when we came here, we don't know about the routine. We don't know about this routine. It was a big problem, and as well, how challenge we have. We have challenge to integration. We have challenge to talk with people. example, when I came here, when I came here, I didn't feel all my life that I am strange. I'm strange. I'm from another country. I didn't feel that, and I didn't expect that as well. When I came here, oh, just example, my hair black is black. Okay, so it was normal for me, but here I found that very strange.
Loads of
Really,
blonde-haired
yes,
people,
really,
red-haired people.
things like that. So slowly, as we started to feel really we are strangers. We are, uh, this give you give to your confidence.
What's made you feel the most like an outsider? Is it the fact that you're Syrian or you don't speak English, or is it the fact that do you feel like a refugee, or is it your religion? Like, what's the thing that makes you feel like, okay, I'm different?
For me, it's about, of course, the first. It's about, as I said, my hair is black. It's a little
So
bit
your physical appearance.
one thing, and another thing. When you start to speak with people, of course, they will notice quickly that your English is not perfect. You are not from here, things like. But a lot of people, they are friendly, nice, mm, to be honest. But this will give you, as I said, you will feel that you are very strange. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm trying. Sometimes you want to deliver your message to someone or something like that. But just this feeling makes you stop to continue what you want to say like that. So
In case
it's
people don't
hard.
understand you.
Yes, and yeah, and some people they try to support, of course, support. They try to understand what you say. I'm talking when I came first year like that. So, yeah.
And I think it's important for people to realise you have been placed in the northwest of England in Lancashire,
Mm.
which is one of the whitest areas in the country. So it's very different for
I
you than
didn't
it is
know
for some,
that.
you know,
For
but
that, it's clear for me as well.
if you'd been placed in London, you would see other Arab people, you would hear other Arabic speakers, you'd see the mosque, but you're placed in a town where
Yeah,
you stand out, and that's a brilliant thing because we need diversity, but it's not easy being the first amongst
yeah,
the different diverse groups, so you've had it pretty hard.
really, yeah.
You're a
Yeah, and could
trailblazer.
you imagine you have this pressure in your community, and you have pressure about me, especially about me, about condition health things. Yani, I have to finish my operation to start my life. I don't want to think about any painful things like that. So yeah, it was very bad memorize first
Mm.
4 years. So first 4 years, hopefully, because
Yeah, it's been hard, and
yeah,
what, so 4 years now, and you're still trying to get your life back on track, right? Like it's a slow process.
it's a challenge. How you have you have to start your life, and you couldn't. Could you? It's really depressing.
Yeah, very depressing. And I think people think, oh, okay, refugees arrived in England, happy ending, everything's going to be great. But you're actually one of the people who, you have got the language, which a lot of refugees don't after 4 years, through no fault of their own. I don't think I'd pick up Arabic in 4 years. So even though you have the language, you have the skill set and the confidence to apply for jobs, you're still in this situation where you're not where you want to be. And I think that's the same for 95% of resettled refugees, right? It's just a slow, painful
Yeah,
process.
and how it's difficult as well about the job. Example, in our country, if you want to start a job, just you have to go to the boss or the manager, and if you want stuff, okay, and you could agree by one day. Here you have to get certificates, a lot of certificates, and to allow to start your business. And I'm a graphic designer, and you watched me how design few things. So yeah, I found that as well difficult as well. So another thing, if you want to start your business, example, yani, I mean, I'm not English. I'm not English. That means a lot of problems for me to talk with people, to make a deal, things like that. It's really, we need a lot of support, a lot of support to start our life. We will be happy when we start our life, and we will be happy. We'll be happy to be part from this community. And it's not nice to stay without job. It's not nice because it will be not good for the this country as well. Yeah. Could you imagine if you stay without job, things like that, or waiting for operation or treatment, things many years. That means wasting time, wasting effort, wasting money, everything.
Yeah.
And after that, we don't know psychological things, what will happen after many years from this depression, from this bad time. Yeah.
So it's the case that you'd say the majority of Syrians just want to get working, like they want to contribute, they want to be.
I'll give you example. A lot of people, not a lot of people in Syria, we don't have job center there. We don't have the benefit for housing, things like that. You have to work to stay alive, to pay for rent, to start your business. You have to work. So that means all Syrians, most of Syrians, they have skills. They have skills. But we talk about people 45 years old or 50 years old. They didn't learn Arabic in Syria, example, but they have a lot of skills.
Like carpenters and farmers, yeah.
And they come here, okay. They have amazing skills, okay, but they couldn't start their job. Why? Because they want English. English is impossible to learn for these people. 50 years, 60 years, like that, almost impossible for them. And if they want to learn English, they must to speak perfect for them. That means they would study many years. And could you imagine how these people, they would stay without work, and they were boss there, manager there in Syria or Lebanon, things like that. So as well, this is a big cry.
It's such a loss of status, isn't it? Like we did some research on this, and for men in particular, it's that loss of status. So going from the boss of a massive company with all these skills to someone who can't even get a job in a takeaway at the moment because your English isn't good enough, like that's very demoralizing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you'll find, if you try to go to the right, you'll find the wall, left wall, forward wall. So you find yourself inside the cage. I found myself inside the cage with all these things, really, honestly, and I wished that didn't happen with me for you, really.
So looking to the future, what positive steps, what positive things do you see happening for you in the future? Like what's the plan? What do you think is going to happen?
I have to work about my English anyway. I have to work about my English. So I try.
Your English is good.
Yeah, but yeah, I know because this, I need it anyway. I need it anyway. And I couldn't do anything without English here, because we struggle for that. But of course, I'm trying to work as a graphic designer because I have a lot of skills about that, printing, t-shirt printing, things like that. Yes, and by the way, last year, 2 years ago, I've got IPA level. So this allowed me to go to university to study, and I wanted to go to study programming, things like that. But because as I said about the confidence, when you talk with people, things like that, I felt my confidence is not enough to study at university. So I decided to stop last year. So I thought I'm gonna to start this year, but last year as well it wasn't good for me. So, and especially in lockdown that made our English went.
A lot of people have said that. They've said, I've not spoken to any English people for 4 months. Like, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, so one of my plans, it was university, but I don't feel I'm good enough to study.
But hopefully in the next few months.
I like everything has related to computer.
Okay.
So, for that, I like cybersecurity or programming, things like that. Yes, so yeah.
Okay.
And could you imagine, after many years, and when I want to study at university, I said, okay, many years I left my university. So how I'm gonna to start? But when I came here, I like these things in this community. So a lot of people they study 40 years, they study at university 45, 50 like that.
Oh
So yes,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I didn't feel I am old too much for
You're
that.
never too old to learn. Never
Yeah, but
ever
in
too
my
old.
country, though, maybe you feel that.
No, and I think the beauty is you can say you do your computer degree or your graphic designing in 20 years if you want to learn something else and be a lawyer, you can be like, okay, I'm going back to do law. So you've got lots of options.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And we tried as volunteer. We tried to work as volunteer as well. Yeah,
you
yeah.
do a lot of volunteering, yeah. Do you ever see yourself going back to Syria?
I wish that I could tell you every day, every day, every day. Not from now, since I left Syria.
Mm.
Could you imagine how many years? Since 2013. And when I came here as well. So it's, as I said, you will miss always, always. Because how I can, yeah, it was when you were young man, teenager, things, all you memorize with your, yeah, it's the best time for you in all your life.
The
So
best decade,
yeah,
yeah.
of course you remember that always. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I wish if I could. Yeah, and yeah, but yeah, as I want to say, the refugees, there is, there were not our option,
Wasn't
but
your decision.
we have to choose the best option.
So finishing up, and it's been amazing listening to you. I could listen to you for hours, but
Okay. Yeah.
what do you wish people knew about refugees? Like, what do you wish people understood?
Yeah, as I said, this was not our option, but they need a lot of support. Example, I'll give you example. If I'm a graphic designer, and there is a British person as a graphic designer. He has a lot of opportunities more than me just because he speaks English. So could you imagine? I like anyone from our refugees needs a lot of support, more support than British to try to just start their business and to support people as well with integration, to speak with them. It's very important to talk to people. Yes, and a lot of people now they have idea from social media, a lot of wrong things from Syria. In social media, it's about ISIS. I said, look, if you ask someone Syria, if you say Syria, they will talk about ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
What about the 20 million people? And as I said, believe me, Homs is a capital of laughing. All the cities they come to Homs. You couldn't imagine how it's really fun. And yes, so how the Syria is not ISIS. The Syrian people they are very very friendly, nice, and hardworking as well. Yes, so yes, and as well we are not here to take any job. No, but yes, yeah,
But a
it's like
lot of the
but we have
jobs.
to. It's from the it's like anyone. We have to start our job to create our life independent. And we don't. It's very important to be independent. That means we will support this community as well. If we work, and we will support this community as well. Support people. So yes, don't think like that. So and of
And
course,
people forget that you contribute as well. So, like a lot of the jobs you can do, like I know refugees who've become nurses and
as
doctors
well.
and stuff that you need. And if you're working, you're contributing taxes, you're contributing to the economy. So, we want you to come here and work. It's not
Yeah.
like
No. But we have to work anyway. And if we were here or any country, we have to work to continue our life.
absolutely.
We have to learn as well. And a lot of Syrians, they are very clever. A lot, you could hear a lot of stories about the best students in Germany, a lot of the best students in a lot of Europe countries, Canada, America, Syrians originally. They are Syrians originally. You could read it.
Wasn't Steve Jobs the son of a Syrian?
Steve Jobs, he's originally from my city, Homs, by the way.
There we go.
His father, could you imagine Steve Jobs from my city as well?
So
Or
any
his
Apple
father.
products or anything.
Yes, the best company, Apple, in the world, really.
Syrian. So
Look,
do you?
look, his hair like mine. I think I'll be Steve Jobs in the future. So it's funny.
Yeah, dream big. Dream big. You never know.
If
Like
you
what?
want anyone create things, creative things, okay, I'm happy. I'm ready.
So stuff that local English people who've been here for years who are established could do that is helpful is just offer you opportunities. So whatever you work in, if it's graphic design, a restaurant, whatever, reach
And
out and say, just let people volunteer or shadow or intern. That would be really useful.
yes, of course, and just don't think we are the people human looks at them. I didn't think that to be to say I am Syrians like bad things.
What do you
Syrian,
mean?
I'm Syrian, and so I don't think I didn't expect that some people will say I am Syrian. So some people they thought there war. I see things like that. No, no.
Oh, people are worried about you.
Yes, a lot. Some people because I could notice that from their eyes. Some people. I'm not talking about a lot of people. So the social media, the big problem from the social media, it's very hard to deliver the truth because, but I'm very happy because I left all these steps. So thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about that. And I'm very happy to talk because when I were in Syria, I tried to deliver our voice, but as I said, was the power, was the money, the government, the
You're
dictator.
silent. Well, that's what we want to keep doing. We want more refugee voices. We want to hear from other Syrians. We want to hear from asylum seekers from different countries. Like just an hour for you to tell your story.
And
And
yeah, and how amazing when we start our life, we could support people. We feel very happy. Of
yeah,
course, we have to give something back. We will say that I have to give something back for that. But believe me, when we started we try to start our life, always as I said, block.
difficulties. Well, hopefully, the more people who hear this will think, oh, well, I didn't think I could help refugees because I work in a building site, but actually now I know maybe I could offer an internship to a refugee. Like just people listening and going, okay, I can do this little bit and that will help. Or,
Very important. It's very important, and we'll appreciate it too much. Believe me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're, I have to say this, like, I know you shouldn't generalize about a whole nation, but you know, Syrian people, I think, have a lot in common with Britain in terms of the sense of humor. Like, they're just very relaxed, funny, um, generous people, and I think culturally you fit in much easier than you think you do. I think when people meet Syrian people, they're like, we get you, you're great, you're fantastic. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're a massive asset to England. We're glad to have you.
And of course, I have to say thank you for England, for Britain, for really, it's hard to describe that. I can hear, of course, a lot of good things. Your country supported me. Of course, we talked about negative things, but this is what happened anyway. But a lot of good things as well
Yeah.
happened, and especially they agreed to bring me here. Yeah,
Well, we have to do our
hopefully
bit.
pray to me to start my life, my new life.
Oh, we will. We'll do more than pray. I'm sure people will get
For
involved.
people as well as well.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. But thank you so much, Essam. You've
Thank you
been
very, very much.
fantastic.
Thank you very much.
How do I start?